The BRICS Urbanisation Forum in Durban will wrap up today. The focus has been on showcasing and discussing practical solutions and actions that contribute to building urban resilience in BRICS cities. Newzroom Afrika's Nobuhle Modise joining us now from the ICC in Durban. Nobuhle, good morning to you. Let's pick up the conversation with this element of that introduction, and that is that the focus here is on building urban resilience in BRICS cities. That's very interesting for eThekwini. When we talk tourism, there's a problem because there are water challenges, and therefore it is exactly part of the resilience that surely they will be talking about. What is proposed, perhaps, about bringing about solutions on water challenges?
Indeed, Xoli, I mean, you would know if we zoom in particularly into the KwaZulu-Natal province as well as eThekwini particularly, you'd know that there's issues of urban migration, number one. We heard the Premier yesterday, Nobuhle, speaking to the fact that there are over 600 informal settlements, and that obviously causes a housing backlog in the city, where she says that they're currently sitting at 470,000 people that need to be housed, and that also is a continuing problem. And then the water that you speak of, I mean, last week we were with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Ubabu Senzo Mchunu, as well as the President of the state, Cyril Ramaphosa, and they were, opening a water treatment plant in Durban in Pietermaritzburg, saying that would address water issues in the Pietermaritzburg area as well as eThekwini. But outside of that, I mean, a lot of the questions are around how they are hoping to build those cities that are urban, those are resilient to urbanization. And I actually want to bring into the conversation the Minister of COGTA here today, Mbisile Nkadimeng, and maybe just ask her to, reflect on yesterday. She opened up yesterday speaking about the issue of urban resilience. She spoke about it in length. Maybe just speak to us, making inferences as well to other BRICS cities like China, Russia, and what they're doing in order to reach that goal of urban resilience. Just speak to us mainly about your reflections on yesterday, Minister.
Well, thank you very much and good morning. I think you're very much correct. This Urbanization Forum is about ensuring that we create resilient and sustainable cities, but also assisting us in accelerating to deal with the backlog. I think what you might have not included also, which is critical and the Premier mentioned, besides the scrutinization of 470 people and the increasing number of people who are in formal settlement and needing formal housing, is the availability of land. Land that is preferred by our people to live in and move away from areas which they are normally used to, which are mostly not sustainable or even good for human habitation. So our programs are mainly on ensuring that we procure land, we transfer land that is on state hands, like in the hands of public works. Hence, there's a joint program between the Department of Public Works and Human Settlement for the acceleration of provision of land, but also park services to be able to connect the water, to connect to the power, and to create roads and create resilient and user-friendly cities. But we also, at the backbone of what we have learned from other countries as well, is our intermediary cities, which are 37 in the country. Your Rustenburg, your Polokwane, your Mhlatuze, your Msunduzi, your Mthatha, to ensure that, one, we develop them to cap the migration, because people are moving to eThekwini, Johannesburg, because they have got problems in areas. Then we also have got 105 small towns and municipalities where we're having a small town regeneration. If you look at a municipality small in the Free State like Stop, you don't want people to move to Mangaung, all of them, and work and stay and reside in Bloemfontein, but you want them to do a life where they are. So it is important that Tabachweyu, for example, in Mpumalanga, is one of our adopted municipalities. It's dysfunctional. But the overall plan is not about AG results only, or it's about improving the services so that people can reside in Tabachweyu. People can reside in Mudimule, which is one of our 105. People can reside in small areas to ensure that there's generation. But we also are working fiscally now to grade those municipalities differently. so that they're even able to attract skills that could be able to plan in an integrated way and develop those towns. It's difficult to attract an engineer or a professional trying to professionalize local government to Mkanduli, where there's not even school for her children. There's not even a road which entices business to be able to put a complex for convenience, not even for luxury, but convenience to be able to have access all the things that you need and deliberate on. But lastly, it is also a key issue on how to plan with regard to the climate change. How resilient are we? How early warnings systems are improved and put in place, and response is prompt to ensure that we save lives, but also we don't go back in terms of regression with infrastructure where we've already invested. So China, for example, has got a concept of sponge cities where they are able to move people very amazingly in terms of speed when there's a potential for disaster before it even strikes. Well, not all the time you'll be able to do that, but we've seen areas where South African weather services here in South Africa will tell us that El Nino is coming in a 3 weeks time. We still haven't evacuated as much as we should. I mean, the April floods have taught us that we wouldn't have lost 400 people but we have gained in terms of learning from our NDMC, which is our disaster management, and also from our provincial disaster management centers. The one with preparedness with regard to October last year was much better. I mean, we had a fatality, I think about 3, which is sad, but in comparison to the early warning and the response of April and the one of the later year, you could see an improvement. That with regard to the city of Thekwini. Yes, in terms of infrastructure, in municipalities we still have to improve. The purchase of ensuring that a fleet that is disaster prone and ensure that it is the cities and the municipalities are ready. Our fire centers in local municipalities still leaves much to be desired. But as COCTA, we've already finalized our fire management services on behalf of municipalities, and will ensure the speedy rollout to ensure that all the disasters are well cared off. The upper side of the country, you know, its disaster is mainly the drought, and the Department of Water and Sanitation has put up a draft strategy in your areas of Gqeberha. We've already given them the Section 36 they are implementing on behalf of those municipalities. So it's a broad strategy which needs proper coordination, which needs thorough response by provinces and municipalities, but I do believe we're on the right course.
And then lastly, Minister, just before I let you go, one of the first sessions that we're having today before that closure is around water, and my colleague Tolim Gambi asking, I mean, in urban cities like Thekwini, we have a water issue. I mean, the infrastructure when it comes to supplying water is especially a huge problem in the city. So what are the solutions around that?
We actually will be presenting with the city of Thekwini as well today, what we have put up together to ensure that one, we are able to record all the infrastructure that we have, not only in Thekwini, of course we'll be rolling it out. Remember, Thekwini is our DDM champion, or is our DDM pilot site. So they now know how many people stay where, in what street, what projects are there, how do they link, what is the timeline from the plan of the municipality to the timeline of the Department of Water and Sanitation. But we must also acknowledge and recognize the efforts of Minister Mthulu on our behalf, honestly. Quite a number of areas where our municipalities have been failing, they've put a brave face forward to ensure that they assist us. So they are rolling out in excess of billions countrywide at a municipal level to ensure that they assist them. So here in Thekwini, they also have a team of experts, I think 3, if I'm not wrong, which are working around to turn the situation of the water from the sewer to the potable water provision in all the areas. We're also working around turning back and reducing, if not eliminating, the tankers, because they don't bring quality. You can't stay in a city and receive water periodically in a water tanker at a particular corner, but water and sanitation is assisting to do that. Maybe a fundamental question as we professionalize local government to ourselves as COCTA is, when Department of Water and Sanitation walk out in those spaces with their experts what should remain. And for me, that will be the greatest learning from our BRIC partners, particularly in the Sao Paulo example, which I made with regard to water conservation and provision of potable water, with regard to China in terms of quick and rollout of infrastructure. We could, if there are human beings like me and you, if they can do it, it means we can. And for me, that's the greatest takeaway, which I hope with time I could be able to respond confidently to South Africans that yes, we have received a hand of assistance from DWS. This is what we are putting ourselves up to, firm ourselves up to ensure that when they exit, the gap doesn't show, but we rather take over the services and provide water to our people in a sustainable manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. That is Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Thembisile Nkadimeng, also speaking to the fact that it's a broad strategy. You heard her just speaking about the major talking points, and you know that the focus for this urbanization forum is on building urban cities that are resilient.
Very comprehensive indeed. Nobuhle Modise, thank you very much. Live for us there in the Durban ICC.